Good morning. Today is Saturday. It is probably about 51 degrees, very nice day, light breeze. We're in the local vigilance area today for probably what's going to be the last time for a while. Or I mix it up with the Green Mountains next week. But the point to be made today is with it being warmer, one has to start becoming more tick and bear aware because both are going to be out potentially today. And the other thing I need to be aware of today is the mud conditions. I've already had a couple of almost slip conditions, so you got to be careful with that too. But we are going to head into the heart of the local vigilance area today looking for tracks and sign given the mud factor. It's been quiet, but we're going to make a go of it anyway and see what we might find. So we're going to get on the trail and we'll get going. We are on trail heading deeper into local vigilance along what I call the logging trail, because a couple of years ago they logged through here and left a mess. But there is kind of an ingress where you can get deeper in here. So far the camera has been playing games too, so which kind of sucks because it has served me well, but in the last couple of months it's done some irritating things, so I wonder if it's time for an upgrade. And as it sits here listening to me, you heard me, no pressure. But anyway, back to warmer weather banter again. Now is the time to bear in mind that we may still be in what New Englanders call fake spring, where you can still have a cold snap. Last year in, I want to say the second week of May, we did have a snow squall come through, which has previously been unheard of. And is blasphemy as well as summer's trying to get in, but it did happen. So it could get cold again, but right now it is, well, for the last week it has been in the, or at least for 3 or 4 days, it's been in the mid-60s. So with weather being that warm, you have to be tick aware and also out here, although I wonder if the nature of the mess the loggers left, just to kind of give some idea. If bears don't like their feet on that kind of crap, and they kind of avoid the area just because it's kind of a pain in the ass to walk through here. That I could understand. But they like acorns, and there are a boatload of acorns along the ground underneath me right now, so being bear aware is to your benefit. It would be lovely if I could make one video without a plane flying overhead just for the ambiance of the woods, but not to be. So far, no go on the tracks, but as we get higher, it's not, at least nice that the ground's drying out and the mud factor's less. But there is what I call the ancient tree stand. I wouldn't trust that. That's been here for years. One of two that I'm aware of in the overall neighborhood. Actually, I think there might be a third. Where's the third one? There's this one, and if you go back, if you go west, and you start working down along the ridge line, on the other side of the hill, there's one over there too. But somebody's hunting spot. If I got that in the camera, great. If not, I'm not. It's not hugely important to the video or just the hike. So upcoming plans this week is excuse me, after this week we're going to probably take a break from local vigilance because it's been quiet for months. I have, in my opinion, pretty thoroughly checked through here this time of year, and conditions have not lined up for them to be about. They have been around in the past, and typically this time of year and in late fall are the times when I've had patterns of activity. This year that has not happened. It's kind of hit or miss. So next week I will be going north into the Green Mountains to assess the conditions, if nothing else, being that it's You may still have snowpack, you may have nothing but mud. But that's the one thing for folks that are traveling this year, at least in the Northeast. Other states will be all different, but travel advisories for COVID are still to some degree in effect. I can get up to Vermont without quarantining because I've been vaccinated for a while now, but they do want you to bring your CDC card. I don't know how stringently they're questioning people about that, but they have made it known that you should have it on your person. So, whereas New York, apparently, you're exempt from quarantine if you are coming from what they call an adjoining state. So, if I hopped over from New York or Connecticut into New York, I think I said Vermont, I would be okay because both are adjoining states, as would be the case in Massachusetts. Connecticut's more of a weird one because you are free of quarantine if you are coming from New Jersey or New York. And yet Massachusetts and Rhode Island, I don't think, are exempted. You have to quarantine or fill out at one point you had to fill out an online health form thing. And they seem to have loosened that up to guidelines again. But the weird thing being the difference between Vermont and Connecticut is Connecticut has not made like allowances for fully vaccinated people. In spite of the fact I think we're like third or fourth state in the country right now leading in vaccinations. You would think they would. I am not aware of the policies for Rhode Island or, to be honest, Massachusetts. However, in the case of Massachusetts, I'm just driving through, so no offense to our state neighbors to the north, but I really don't care because I'm not stopping in there this time around. I probably should look that up. New Hampshire doesn't seem to be overly stringent either. But if they have like an adjoining state thing, Connecticut doesn't adjoin them, so I'd have to probably see what they need. But I would think if I'm carrying my CDC card, I would be okay going to most states in the nearby greater northeastern region. The other thing that's on my mind right now is the nuclear lake thing from the other week. I don't normally reveal exact places where I was trying to get to. However, Nuclear Lake is fairly well known among local Bigfooters as an area that has some historical Bigfoot lore. I tried to get there 2 weeks ago, and our road was closed, and at the time I only knew one way in. And that one way in foiled me to some extent. I probably could have taken the detour and found my way there, but I had no idea where the detour would have hooked up coming back. And when I don't know any alternative route coming back, I basically follow the thing that I did in reverse. And if I don't have that option, then I weighed my options and said it's not worth trying to find my way back to the interstate from, East Bumblefuck, New York, if I don't know where I am. No offense to East Bumblefuck, New York. But if I don't know the area, I'm not going to get lost needlessly. But we're kind of getting to the point now where the forest, the logging part is kind of, you're at kind of like at the periphery where they stop. There's not as much in getting into the deeper stuff. So there's some deer poo. I've already seen some moose poo. So there's deer sign out here. Moose sign out here. There's more step over garbage. So yeah, at some point, what do we have here? Maybe deer tracks. But At some point, we'll be heading back into New York, into the Nuclear Lake area, and starting to have a look in there more. Kind of keep an eye out. One person I know claims he had a, I forget when he said it was, but an encounter in that greater area, not right there, but in that area along the AT, that being the Appalachian Trail. Because that area does kind of, the trail does play through that area and keep going, kind of winds between Connecticut and New York in the northwest corner. And so I'm going to get into there a couple of times this year if I have my way too. But next week we're going into an area in, not so much where I've been before, but if I plan right, but we're going to be going into a central northern part of Vermont where there may be some stuff going on. If that does not work out, then I'll try to pick up the trail of some business from last year. Anywho, I guess there is more step over crap than I remember. But we're gonna navigate this as best I can. I'm already talking again, so I guess we're just gonna deal with it. Kind of step over this stuff carefully. And then a navigational thing I can do here is this stone wall up here. I can probably parallel this and cover some ground that way and use that as a navigational tool as we're getting fairly. And actually up on that line right there, the tree has a yellow band on it, which would indicate we might be on the edge of somebody's private land. Which means we've probably already crossed over. We've also probably crossed over into Massachusetts without seeing a marker. Since we are literally right on the state line in some places up here. But we're gonna, which way are we gonna go? We're gonna check out, we're basically right now in this section of local vigilance. We're like smack dab in, if you looked at a map, we're like right in the middle of it. So territory wise, I don't know if this stone wall, because that's right where the yellow band is, I don't know if that demarcates state land versus private land, but I am looking around and I am not seeing posted signs, so I am going to hop the fence and head over into this a little bit. Again, I'm not seeing posted signs, so to my knowledge, I am not trespassing anywhere. But should I see some, in an area nearby here too, I've looked on Google Maps and there's nothing really to indicate it's somebody's private land, but if you go far enough, there's a trail that you walk back, and when was I last there? Probably, I've been there in the last 5 weeks, but you get right to where the Mass line is, and you see these, they're not posted signs though, they are something like, don't come further down the trail or something, but it's somebody's homemade sign, but it doesn't say no trespassing. It's more like you come into this maze of ATV trails and you're not in the same area anymore. Kind of branches out into new territory, and they claim there's a lodge and a cabin in there somewhere, but I'll be damned if I can see on Google Maps what that area actually is. So if there's anyone watching the video who actually owns that and I'm not supposed to go in there, tell me now, because at some point I would like to explore in there if I'm not ruffling anyone's feathers. If I am, let me know, and I'll plan otherwise. Which I guess kind of brings up a philosophical point, which is in the realm of Bigfooting and the like. Some may not agree with this, some may. but the importance of knowing the difference between public and private land. Because the area that I'm in right now is a mix of a couple of different things. There is state land, there is watershed land, which is owned by the water department, and there's a land trust. And the rules for all three are different. Actually, the water department land and the state land are basically, you can hike, hunt, and that kind of thing in there, whereas the land trust, you need to be a town resident or a guest thereof to be in there at all. And they do have signs everywhere, so you're not going to easily trip in there through ignorance. But you're also like within 2 state lines too. So if you cross over into Massachusetts and you're a younger person, you need to be aware that in Massachusetts versus Connecticut, you need to have I forget what they call it, but you need a permit to carry bear mace, which is kind of dumb, but that's Massachusetts for you. Whereas in Connecticut, you can, as of right now anyway, you can carry it. Although, given the fact that it's been abused this year last year, in the course of Antifa, BLM, and the Capitol riots, it'll be interesting to see if it remains that way. Because one of the Capitol policemen actually apparently died from being bear maced. And what possibly happens if he got smothered by a crowd and they got stuff and he breathed it in, he could have suffocated. Because what happens with bear mace,
I'll just turn
if there's
the
like
damn
no
thing
wind
off.
in the air, it does kind of hang in
embarrassing.
the air. And if you breathe it in, you're burning your lungs and you can't get away from it. Yeah, so I could actually edit that out. Shit happens. Yeah, so again, I'm not, pro gun to the point where I am stockpiling thousands of rounds of ammunition, but I do believe in the right to defend yourself and all that. I'm kind of agnostic to that, but I do think we're in a period where you already see that you're already seeing the typical hysteria come up when people have a shooting happen and everybody starts clamoring for we have to like ban guns everywhere and all that. And I'm sorry, but that is just naive, because I am going to kind of take a basically party line NRA-esque stance here and basically say that if you're enforcing the laws that are already there, you shouldn't need new ones, because when new laws are basically put into place out of hysteria, they tend to be bad laws. I think that's a fair statement. And that's basically a lot of what would be going on here. So, hopefully we won't have a whole big spate of that going on, but because I'm sorry if you're more, I'm going to use the word liberal, because progressive, I'm really struggling not to get into politics here, because that's a poison I don't want to get into. But if you are, well, let's just say if you're anti-gun, look, the criminals are going to find ways to get guns, legally or otherwise. And if you are hindering the folks that are like lawfully doing stuff, you're not helping anyone. All you're doing is hindering lawful citizens from hunting and all that. And there are arguments in terms of conservation of nature and things, if you're a PETA member, I don't really want to hear it. An overpopulation of deer is not good for the deer population, because then you get into disease and starvation when the food sources suffer. And that's just scientific fact, But let's go on and let's get back to the subject at hand and not delve into politics anymore. I think I've already gone too far over that line, and I really don't want it to be what I'm about. So there is a red object thing in a tree up there. I'm going to go see what that is. going to say it almost looks like a tree house, but it's flapping in the wind. Is there a mount a flag out here? Let's go find out. Okay, we're done with politics. We're going to go see what this damn red thing is. Walk along the length of this big dead tree over here and bring us right up. It does. It looks like a flag. Why would somebody do such a whimsical thing? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. What the heck is that? It is like red netting around somebody's tree stand, is what it is. So before, when I was saying I knew of a third tree stand, I'm thinking this is it. Alright, so I didn't find something new. I don't remember the red netting though, but okay. I don't know if somebody would mind, but in the middle of a night op, such a thing would be handy for having a higher spot. If you could blend in sufficiently. But nice little tree break right by the tree stand. And unlike the other one that is older than mud, this one looks a little bit more sturdy. I wouldn't per se trust the other one. This one and the one further west look to be in better shape though. So I will put that on my little mental map of the area. That deserves a picture. That is literally Sasquatch's thinking stump. Actually, you know what? You turn the camera off, so I'll just get it on video. Right there, thinking stump. That amuses me. Anywho, let's move on. Actually, let's take a segment break, and I'm going to walk over to where that ridge line is. It looks like a ridge line, and we'll come back if there's anything interesting over there. But I'm going to take a break right now. Kind of heading back the way we came, and I see some kind of small pond through this junk. If I can get around this, I guess we're going to go all the way around. And kind of get out in this open area here and look and see what exactly that might be. Need to get a higher ground view. So that little stream goes in there, and there's a little pond in there, or a stream or something. Work our way down there, see what we see. If I can get through this stuff. Or am I going to lose the view if I get down too low? I just kind of want to get an idea of the size of that. Maybe eye it out as a potential fishing spot, which reminds me I have to renew my fishing license. Okay. This is kind of a happy approach though. There's no real easy way in. Maybe down there. Let's go that way. This boulder field shit, it's not really ideal. Let's try to make an angle from over here. That's a little better. This is one of those things you want to get the drone over. Where is there a spot I can get the drone over? It's not that windy either, huh? Rather than go through all the mud. We're going to cheat. Let me try that maybe. So I need to get back through all this. Excuse me. Sorry for the wheezing. I think allergies have reared their ugly head. So where's that line up? Wonder if there's an easier approach from over there. Hello, little bird. The only brazenly obvious wildlife I've seen today. Right there, if I see him, if I'm getting him. A little chickadee of some kind. Enjoy your leaf. I gotta get out of this boulder field. This thing sucks. Big tree twist over there. Hopefully that's getting it. Hold on. Where is it? I guess that's it right there. Right there. Okay. All right then. All right, so not unlike before, we are going to move through this area and take a segment break to focus on footing and less on talking. Messing up. So the approach by drone is getting scrapped because if you look up, there's not really a big enough hole in the tree cover in order to justify a launch. So, because you'd have to put it in the air and then you have to point it over there somewhere. And if you don't have an exact enough bearing to bring it down, you're not going to have line of sight, which is a droning no-no anyway. But you're gonna, I don't need with like stone walls and things in here and stumps and the like, I don't need to clip a branch and then have it come down and land on a rock or something. You're gonna lose your drone that way, and that's kind of pointless. but we will get in there. It doesn't look like it's really an easy approach. I'm just interested, and so I'm interested in what its bearing is in lieu of other spots in the greater Vigilance area that kind of connecting the dots, kind of a logic. We're back at the scrubby tree stand over here that we're walking. Actually, maybe it's just a raggy thing on the top. The rest of that looks, I guess that looks all right. I do know that's been around for a number of years, though. But it'd be interesting to see what that yields if we ever did like a night op and hung out in one of those for a bit. Just a thought. Get like 3 people in here, one in each of the stands. If you could keep radio contact, that'd be kind of like a nice woodland stakeout kind of thing. But anyway, this is kind of like the outro, so we are kind of making our way back. As I thought, it is quiet in here today. We did see signs of moose and Bambi droppings and that kind of thing. I think the pond is actually down there, or actually it's over that way, so we're going to mount an expedition for that another day. It's basically a pond. I can survey. I need to renew my fishing license before I look at that for the fishing potential. But I think this is where we're going to end the segment and the video, because unless I trip over a bear or a monkey person in here as we walk out, it's basically going to be more of me rambling. So we're going to call it here, and we will catch you folks the next time. Enjoy the video if you want to, if you do, and if you do, thanks. Subscribe if you feel like it, if you haven't, and again, we'll catch you the next time.